unity. Who doesn't want peace, love, and unity? You tell me. Dude, wake up.
Grab a new hot tip, get ready to get into action, and let's do something today that will make a difference tomorrow.
Love, I would say love is a state of constant flow. Constant flow. Love is the thing that guides us. Love is the fuel for everything. Without love, we can't do much. Without having a sense of calm, without having the sense of peace, actually, how could we possibly be anything other than a corpse? Love brings us to life. Love brings us to truth. Love helps us create our wings to fly. And by love, I mean utmost compassion and empathy, giving care and respect and truth and honesty. Love is not a state of using. There is no room for money talk in there. There is no room for abusing. There is no room for hurting. Love is pure in its essence, and love is guided by your consciousness. You can love all and not even have a physical component to this. You can be in utter bliss and joy with no harm or hurt or pain. Love is a state of movement. Love is grace and fluidity. Love comes from inner peace and calm and really has accepted things as they are. Love is the flow that guides us. Love is the connector to all that breathe and all that move and all that have come before us. Love is the essence of everything that is divine, and love is the essence of everything that creates peace and fluidity. So, dear friends, this message is for love, and message of love is that it starts with you. Love yourself and love others. Be peaceful in everything you do. Be happy and content when you're with your consciousness. Be with your inner purity. Purity of thought, purity of heart, purity of body. Be clean, be pure, be at peace, and be at one. Love is the fuel. Love is the blood that runs in our veins. Without love, we get dried and we become a corpse. Love awakens you, and love brings you closer to that one. The 3, 2, 1. Love you.
Individuals, what we can do to prevent racism from happening is to kind of start with the children, I think, more than anything. I think we do a lot at school where we are exposed to different cultures, and I think kids do even more of it now, like with international days at school and kids bringing different foods, and I know I did that at school. But I think it's about kind of having more of an open communication about acceptance and tolerance, and giving children an opportunity to go with their own values and their own instincts about people. I kind of think back to kindy, and anyone, it was like Sally and that was Ben, and it wasn't Sally's Asian or Ben's Indian, it was just they were who they were and that was it. And I remember year one was when racism kind of kicked in a bit, and then all of a sudden it was very obvious that we were all different, you know, or like for me, as you know, I was different. And I think if we kind of actually foster children and their values, they're usually quite bang on about things, and let them grow and formulate that. I think you've got to be really careful, even as adults, just even making comments about people, you know, just generally, you don't understand how much kids absorb that, and then they take that on and then they take that to school with them. And I feel like that's a great start. Within the community, I think it's a bit of a bigger issue, and it's a harder one to kind of communicate with, because a lot of the time I have people say stuff to me and then go, oh, but I don't mean you. And I think, well, actually you do. But if you're friends with me and you still have those views, then what hope do we have? You know, if you are exposed to people that you care about and you love, and you still think the way you do, and you are still as insular as you are, you know. So I can only really think kids, and I can't really think far beyond that in any other way.
For those of you who don't know, this week a man named Liam Stacey was sentenced to 56 days in prison for a series of tweets he made. These tweets were made on March 17th following the collapse of footballer Fabrice Muamba during a FA Cup game. The footballer went into cardiac arrest and required hospitalisation immediately afterwards. Now the trouble all started when Stacey put out the tweet, "LOL, fuck Muamba, he's dead." Now there was an immediate backlash to this on Twitter, and Stacey got progressively more vulgar in his responses as time went on. Now I've looked through the tweets that he sent, and the two most offensive words follows: "Ow, go suck a nigger dick, then you AIDS-ridden cunt," and "Your mother's a wog and your dad is a rapist." Does that really require 56 days in prison? Now don't get me wrong, he was being a stupid fucking racist prick when he said those things. But is it really much worse than anything the average Xbox Live player hears? At no point did he actually threaten or incite violence against anyone. And being a racist idiot is not in itself a crime. To the people who ask, well, what should happen? He should get some punishment, shouldn't he? Yes, he should. And he's already getting it. From one end of the country to the other, everyone now knows that Liam Stacey is a stupid racist prick. That is his punishment. This is how society provides its feedback to such bigoted bullshit, not through the use of custodial sentences. By applying the force of the state against this kind of mindset, it effectively makes racism a thought crime. Simply holding and expressing a negative opinion is enough to get you put into a cell. I'd like to reiterate, at no point did he threaten or incite violence against another human being. He acted like a wanker. A stupid, racist wanker. And now everybody knows that's what he is, and that is his punishment. When people see him walking down the street and he catches them laughing at him behind his back, that is his punishment. When he goes into a bar and someone asks him if he sent any tweets lately, that is his punishment. Now I'm not the biggest fan of Noam Chomsky, but one thing he said was exactly right. If you don't believe in the freedom of speech for the people you despise, then you don't believe in it at all. If you attempt to limit public discourse to the subjects and manner which you find acceptable only, then you have rendered all contrary opinions to be offences. This is not how a free society is supposed to operate. And what really annoys me is that now I'm having to take the side of a stupid racist wanker, because there are people out there whose skin is so thin that they need to call the police when they see something that annoys them on the internet. If you're such a baby that you need the state to step in and hold your hand and take away the naughty man, then you're in no position to complain when it turns around and bites you in the ass. If you're so quick to take away someone's freedom over something like this, then you've got no business complaining the next time someone asks you to bend over at the airport. You brought it on your damn self. For now, this is Not In My Name, and I'll see you next time.
public outrage over the killing of an unarmed black teenager in Florida by a self-appointed neighborhood watch vigilante.
What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now!
Anger at authorities for simply accepting the word of the white Hispanic shooter that it was self-defense.
When the police officer was taking a statement from a witness, and the witness who had actually been on the 911 call said, no, that was a boy calling out. That was Trayvon Martin crying for help. And then the officer said, no, that was Zimmerman. And the officer wasn't even there. So that suggests that there is a culture of racist incrimination.
From the East Coast to Southern California, a massive show of solidarity asking for justice for Trayvon Martin and for the arrest of George Zimmerman. More than a month after the shooting of Trayvon Martin and thousands of miles away, the case is still stirring up strong emotions here on the streets of Los Angeles.
Trayvon Martin wasn't killed because he was supposedly violent. He wasn't killed because he was wearing a hoodie. He was killed because he was a black man.
The case is a stark reminder that racial discrimination continues to run rampant in American society.
Trayvon Martin was targeted and profiled by virtue of Zimmerman's own description in the 911 tapes. He talks about the fact he looks like he's on drugs, he's an African-American male.
The suggestions that hate and bigotry had something to do with Trayvon's death has some comparing his killing to the recent death of a Muslim woman in San Diego. 32-year-old Shaima Alawati was severely beaten in her own home. A note next to her body read, "Go back to your country, you terrorist."
She's a housewife. She's innocent. She hasn't hurt anybody.
Her heartbroken daughter found Alawati drowning in a pool of blood. The family wonders what would compel such hatred.
We're not the terrorists. You are. Whoever did it.
Despite the shocking nature of the death, inflammatory language has flooded the web, suggesting that Alawati may have deserved it or that her family is lying. Islamophobic websites have also capitalized, calling it an honor killing instead of a hate crime.
Black, brown, Asian, white, same struggle, same fight.
Now, along with 1 million hoodie marches planned for Trayvon Martin, 1 million hijabs for Shaima Alawati groups are being organized. In recent days, much has been said about what Martin and Alawati were wearing.
I think the hoodie is as much responsible for Trayvon Martin's death as George Zimmerman was.
Comparing a piece of clothing to a gunman is clearly a stretch. It is also a huge distraction in the media from the larger issue that young black men and Muslims in post-9/11 America are still profiled as being dangerous.
We will stay in the streets until justice is won.
In Los Angeles, Ramon Galindo, RT.
It's on display. Wow! This is bad. Got my mind, I got the right. I get your soul. You got to change your attitude. You got to change your ways. You got to change your attitude. Let me show you how. I just got out of my sleep. Heard his voice saying, wow, good God, racism is so bad. Dreams bring made a speech. It went on and on and on, saying that teaching humans on to lose. Stop oppression, stop aggression. Yeah. One love human beings, that is like a boomerang. Shit, racism, racism is so bad. Change your attitude, you got to change it today. Against your soul. You got to change your attitude. You got to change your ways. You got to change your attitude. Let me show you how.
Every one of you listening, tell the world. Tell this to everybody wherever they are.
We will continue to need each other now and in 1,000 years' time.
In a planet we don't have what you call racism, but you got
important that we all make a stand against racism, and I think it's there needs to be some sort of societal responses, but I think ultimately if each individual decides to take a stand against racism and be intolerant of racist attitudes, I think that's going to go a long way to diminishing racism in this country. And I think that's basically what we have to do. We have to be really intolerant about it. Don't sort of, laugh even embarrassingly about, at a racist joke, or don't ignore it. Call it what it is. Say, listen, hey, that's a racist joke. Don't be talking like that in front of me. Confront people not in an aggressive way, but confront people when they make racist jokes, when they make disparaging comments about people based on nothing other than their race. I mean, quite clearly there are some really dodgy black people around, just as there are some really dodgy white people about. So it's not about being precious about this. Call someone dodgy if they're dodgy, not if they happen to be black or Muslim or Arab or whatever. And don't accept racism in your family, in your workplace, amongst your friends, and in your social.
Greetings. Today we celebrate the remembrance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And here are some of his favorite quotes I'm presenting as a tribute to give you an opportunity what a lifetime accomplishments look like for a man that paid the ultimate sacrifice, which was to donate his life to the civil rights movement of the 1960s in the United States of America. He was a person that stood up for the injustices that occurred throughout that period and that time. Although he's passed and his body is no longer with us, his legacy still lives on, giving hope to all those that have had rights taken away, that have lived through years of deprivation and just a complete existence, to let you all know as a demonstration from his accomplishments that violence is not always the best means for resolving an issue. As society, we have a responsibility to each other to be fair and just. In during that particular time and moment of the civil rights movement, there were some grave injustices occurring throughout the United States. And the difference that one man can make is evidence in the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And as we take this day, January 16th, 2012, a day of observance for his birthday, I just wanted to share these quotes with you. They're flashing across the screen. I'm not going to read them to you, because the impact comes in you seeing and having that picture play through your mind. So as I stop talking here, I'll give you an opportunity to grasp these slides as they're popping up, because as we exist in 2012. Without Martin Luther King Jr. and the movement that he created, there would be no 44th President of the United States named Barack Obama. And we just want to thank you, Dr. Martin Luther King, for paying the ultimate sacrifice. This is Barry Tatum. This is my voice. But these are his quotes. These are his words. These are foundations to live by, to create a better society for everyone, for all those to have an equal opportunity to thrive, exist, and flourish in these United States and the world, for that matter. He was a champion, a true champion in the civil rights movement. Peace and blessings. Barry Tatum, signing off.